Right now, with millions of Americans struggling just to get by every single month and millions more living paycheck to paycheck, lawmakers now have a new plan. Their plan is to give $1,800 per month to Americans. Yeah, that's not a joke. That's not a typo. I didn't misspeak. Lawmakers, look at this, are floating a nationwide basic income experiment that would cover the cost of a two-bedroom apartment for 3 years. Yeah, look at this, okay? I want to read a little of this to you. It says right here, a group of Democratic lawmakers wants to test a new kind of social safety net, a monthly paycheck provided by the federal government to spend however you want. Says New Jersey Rep. Bonnie Watson Coleman said she is reintroducing a bill to establish a 3-year guaranteed basic income pilot program that would offer a cohort of Americans across the country a no strings attached monthly payment, enough to cover rent for a 2-bedroom apartment or home. Okay, here's where things are getting interesting. This means it's $1,800 is what they're looking at. Look at this right here. What is the average rent for a 2-bedroom apartment in the United States? The average rent is $1,800. Okay, that is interesting. They're looking at $1,800. But guess what? It's for 10,000 Americans. Let me read this. It says events like the pandemic, economic fluctuations, and increasing automation and job losses threaten to wipe out what little savings they have, to finally push them to homelessness, to reinforce the fact that in the wealthiest nation in the world, too many families are just a single mishap away from financial devastation. We learned just today, Amazon is going to be letting go of tens of thousands of workers. Tens of thousands of positions are no longer going to be available because Amazon believes AI is the future, and the United States needs to get behind it. I want to keep reading this to you. It says the legislation is called the Guaranteed Income Pilot Program Act of 2025. A guaranteed basic income is what the government distributes recurring and unrestricted payments to a certain demographic. It differs from a universal basic income, which would provide payments to an entire population. Many U.S. cities have already experimented with guaranteed basic income programs to varying degrees of success. Well, here's the interesting thing. President Trump said just this past week that he is open to the possibility of sending out these tariff rebate checks to millions of Americans because we need it. Millions of Americans are struggling at this time. So right now, there's been a lot of talk, kind of behind the scenes, to get something in place in case the federal government doesn't open for a while and there's a lot more pain. Can we pass something to provide the American people with something so that they can live, that they can pay their bills, they can keep the lights on, they can keep the heat on, they can keep their home? That's what they're asking. I want to keep reading this. It says, according to the bill, which is co-sponsored by 9 other lawmakers, the pilot program would involve 20,000 people between 18 and 65 years old. Of that group, 10,000 would receive monthly payments equal to the fair market rent on a 2-bedroom home where they live, or a similar amount to be determined by Health and Human Services. The other half would be the control group. Okay, so what's interesting about this proposal is they're trying to pretty much determine and do a and B testing to see who is going to be better off. Do the people that receive the potentially $1,800 a month, are those people better off than those that are in the control group and are pretty much just fighting for every single dollar that they have? Well, based off what we've seen in recent reports, recent data, is that those that do receive some type of basic income, whether it's guaranteed or universal, the good thing is they can kind of prop themselves up and pay for food and pay for their bills and things like that. The problem is after. Have they been just given this money and they don't do anything for 3 years? If that's the case, they fall flat on their face. But if they are told to learn something, go to school, or there's some type of education behind it, those people do very well. I want to read you one last thing. It says, increasing automation and advancing AI have the potential to expand human flourishing. However, the concentration of control of those technologies into the hands of a few billionaires may mean the eventual loss of the livelihoods of millions of Americans. Okay. Goes on to say, passing such legislation would be a major lift in today's political climate. While Democrats genuinely support a basic income, some Republicans have criticized the cost of running the programs and raised concerns that it could discourage Americans from working. Some state legislators controlled by Republicans have sought to prevent basic income experiments in their states. Okay, so here's where we're at. There is a renewed push for this guaranteed basic income. The reason for that is because of the current state of the economy. We're seeing many businesses lay off their employees because, number one, they're having a very difficult time just to turn a profit. Number two, in order to turn a profit, they're having to reduce their workforce. By reducing their workforce, they still have to get the jobs done, and so they bring in AI. AI is taking people's jobs just by storm. Millions of people are losing their jobs. Some reports indicate that here in the United States alone, we're going to see about a quarter of all the jobs are going to be gone. A quarter of all jobs by 2030. That's in less than 5 years. That right there could be terrifying if these millions of people do not find a way to use AI to their benefit. So, just wanted to share that with you because I know a lot of people are wondering right now, what is going on? Is the federal government going to step in, going to help us out? The answer, honestly, is no. They're not going to help out every single person every single month. We do not have the capability to do that. But we do have the ability to provide some type of tariff rebate, a one-time payment. That's possible. It's also possible to provide a guaranteed basic income to, tens of thousands of people. But the problem is Republicans are not going to jump on board for some type of 3-year program. What we're facing right now, and the reason why I'm bringing this whole thing to your attention, why you need to understand what is happening with this right here, is because lawmakers, especially Democrats, are asking for an extension of the Obama subsidies, the Affordable Care Act subsidies. If these don't happen, the government will not reopen. So right now, that's where we stand. Just expect more pain is going to come over the next several months. But at the same time, there are lawmakers that are looking for workarounds and loopholes to find ways to get money into your pocket. So, as we get more information on this, I promise I'll bring you all the latest news and updates as soon as we get it. As of today, that is what we know. So again, thank you guys for watching. Consider subscribing, and I'll see you guys on the next one.